Hey, what's up everyone? Game Dad here, and today I'm coming at you with a new mod video. And what we're doing is modding this guy right here. This is the second revision of the NES, the original Nintendo. This is the top loader one. And one of the things about this, famously, is that it didn't have any kind of composite. All it did was RF. So today, what we're doing is taking this little guy right here, very tiny little chip, adding it to this, and this is a composite kit and also adds kind of a faux stereo effect to the audio of your NES games. They were, as far as I know, all mono, but what we're going to do is add that kit into this NES. This is actually Jay over at Square Peg's NES. He saw that the mod came up available. He asked if I'd be able to do that for him, and of course I said yes. So we're going to dive in. I'll have some voiceover explaining what's going on in different parts, but it's a fairly quick mod. If you have basic soldering skills, you should be able to do this yourself. But overall, it's honestly the hardest part of it is trying to find the parts in stock. They don't come up for sale very often, but when they do, they're pretty cheap actually. I think it's only about 40 bucks for the entire mod. And then we are also going to add a power LED to this NES because it did not have one. And yeah, I mean, this should be pretty straightforward. And I mean, for 40 bucks or so, you'd be able to get this yourself whenever it goes on sale. So we're gonna go ahead, crack this thing open, get everything all prepped. I already, before I even started the video, because it's kind of a pain in the butt, is this little 3D printed part that comes with this kit allows you to just kind of drop this in, but I already have the jacks all wired in, or at least put into this piece, and I'll show the process of actually wiring these up to the board because obviously that's the main aspect of this. So let's go ahead, dive in, and do some modding, shall we? And first up, what we got to do is actually get inside of the console. So there are 4 screws in each of the 4 corners, and those are the main things holding the 2 halves together. You just got to get rid of those, and then you will get full access to the inside of the console. And once you have those 4 screws undone, then you can open it up, and it's time to remove the RF shield covering the whole main board. So you got a few screws here, and then you can go ahead and take off that metal plate. Now here on the main board, there are 2 chips, including pin 21 on this chip, and then on this chip, we need to solder onto 2 pins here for the audio. Then we also have 1 little resistor that we need to attach to for our 5-volt power. Now the next step here is to get the main board out because we actually have to get the RF shield removed and remove the RF jack that is on the board. And then there's a couple other areas that we need to prep in order to get ready to do the LED mod as well. At this point, the RF shield and RF jack have all been removed, everything has been cleaned up, and now it is time to prep for the new power jack to be installed because the old one was actually part of the whole RF unit, and just gotta get this all fluxed up, ready to go, and it'll be in place to be able to add with this 3D printed part. Here you can see I've gone ahead and added the wires to the little composite board in preparation for adding to pin 21 for the composite video, the 5-volt power to power the board, and the 2 audio pins right here to give us the stereo audio. And now that it's all connected, I just got to wire it up. As you can see here, I've gone in and gotten all the wires all wired up to where they go onto the main board. And then lastly, I am connecting each of the composite and audio wires over to the actual composite jacks that'll be at the back of the system to plug into. And it really is straightforward. If you know how to solder and you can do basic soldering, you should be able to do this. Just make sure you have a nice fine tip. That way it doesn't flood the solder and bridge any of the pins on these chips, but you just kind of feed everything through, get it all soldered, and you'll be good to go for final assembly. During final assembly, you want to make sure you route all of the wires accordingly so that they are not in the way of any screws going through the posts, and you want to make sure that you are able to get the actual chip down onto this shield right here because that helps with the grounding of it. You just kind of route these wires around and then you will be good to go as long as nothing pinches and breaks a wire. That would be unfortunate, but this will allow you to close up the shell nicely and hide everything about your mod. Now, the last step with putting all of this back together is we need to run the LED up through this power switch area. Now, there is a little dimple here, and what you have to do is take a 3mm drill bit and just kind of drill out that injection molded dimple area, because it will be the perfect size to hold the LED underneath the power switch. And now for the last step, which is reassembly. Go ahead and add the power button back over the LED right here. And then it's just a matter of putting the 4 main body screws back in, and this mod is done. All right, everyone, there you have it. That is a fully composite mod and LED modded NES top loader. And overall, I mean, it took about an hour or so because there was some extra stuff that needed to be done. Normally, you could just go ahead and permanently drill some holes in here to add the composite jacks, but I opted to not do a destructive mod. This is just with a nice 3D printed part, and I could always re-add the RF switch if I wanted to later. But that is all taken care of. I will say there was one destructive part, and it's one of the injection mold dimples below the power switch right here to be able to make room for that LED to shine through the button. But overall, I mean, that's not a thing that would ever be seen, so I'm okay with it. But yeah, this is all ready to go for Jay over at Square Pegs, and I hope he likes his new AV composite modded NES top loader. Now, if you all like this video and you want to check out another recent video, then go ahead and check out this area right here. And as always, I'm Game Dad. I thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you later.